welcome back to my channel According to Kat. If you are new here, please introduce yourself in the comments below. If you're returning, just say hi. And what are we making today? Well, today we are making home decor pieces on a budget using Dollar Tree and other really affordable products. If you'd like to know what supplies I've used, make sure you check out the description box below. And with all that being said, let's get right into the video. Starting out with DIY number 1. So the first thing I did was I took this wooden round. It is from a tree trunk that was cut into slices. Something had fallen over in someone's yard and they had some of these slices, and I have a few of them in my garage. They did dry up quite a bit, so I needed to take my Dollar Tree sanding sponge and just give it a once over to make sure there were no rough edges. Now I'm taking my Mod Podge spray and just sealing in the wood and just making it better for me to paint it. Because I cannot find the little stems at Dollar Tree, which I hear a lot of people are having a hard time finding those. Let me know in the comments below if you are finding them, because you can see here I am taking a stick that I found, and it's a pretty thick stick, and I'm having a really hard time cutting that, so I just got to the point where I just broke it, and I'm just going to glue that on the top. Another option is to use these bamboo wind chimes from the Dollar Tree. They do have a couple smaller pieces inside, and you could use that as your stem. Now I'm taking my Waverly Chalk Paint. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to use. I end up going with the mineral. The mineral's like a gray khaki. I really do like the color of it, and I thought with these faux leaves from Dollar Tree, I thought it would look really nice. I did want to add a tinge of green to it, so it's just a very dark hunter green, and it's okay that it's not chalk paint because the base of it's the mineral chalk paint from Waverly. It'll be just fine. So my idea here was to have a darker color in the center and then fade as it went out to the ends of the wooden round. So more of a gradient effect or an ombre effect. But you can see here the paint was really thick, so I ended up taking my dirty water, and the reason it's dirty is because I put my paintbrushes in there between, as I'm painting, so that I can just keep reusing paintbrushes. And so I just take some of that water and I poured it on the wood round where the paint already was. Now I did pour a little too much, but it was okay because it just kept seeping right into that dry wood. So even though I sealed it with the spray Mod Podge, I did feel that that wood was just soaking up that water. Because of that, the color isn't as strong as I thought it was going to be once it dried, but it did give me that ombre effect that I was looking for. So right now I'm finding my stash of all my fall stuff. I'm getting all that out, but these are the little mini pine cones you get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue all this right at the top of my wooden slice. I'm going to make a faux pumpkin here. I have some faux leaves, just using some regular hot glue, and the first thing I did was I glued on the little stem from the stick that we cut. And then I'm gluing on these 2 leaves. I thought these leaves are really nice. They aren't shiny, so they have a very matte look, so I liked how that turned out. And then I am gluing on 3 of those mini pine cones, just with some hot glue once again. Now, I kind of probably should have waited on gluing on the pine cones until I figured out what I was going to do with the top of this, but I did it and it's all good. And then I realized I wanted to add a rope to the top, but I figured out a way to do that. So I am taking this rope that I got off of Amazon. I will link it below. You can use the rope from the Dollar Tree. The only thing is it's a little thicker than I like. And this rope, I believe, is a 3.5 millimeter. I will link below what rope I used. But I am just tying it around the stem of the pumpkin, very loosely tying a knot, and then putting 2 knots right at the end of those hanging rope pieces, and then cutting off any excess. I liked that they were at different lengths, so that's how I did that. The next thing I did was I took this super glue from the Dollar Tree, and you just take off the top and you just poke a hole using the applicator tip and then screw that right on. This is my favorite glue to use when I need a small, precise tip, or if I'm using items that are more difficult to glue, like this metal word, the thankful word from the Dollar Tree. Whenever I use hot glue, it dries so fast because of it being metal that I can't move quick enough. So this works out just perfect because it gives me a moment to get everything set up before it dries. Any places where I thought it could use a little more, I just kind of pulled up the thankful and just kind of slid it underneath. I use that Vaseline so that my tip doesn't dry when it has the cap on. And right now I'm taking these Dollar Tree building blocks, tumbling blocks, and I am kind of making them off-centered. You can see that a bit. So that way the wood round leans back a slight bit so that it doesn't become too front heavy and fall forward. So this is my way of making sure it stands up, but with a slant back a little bit. And you can see how I'm making that work. And again, just hot glue for that. And this is done. I hope you like it as much as I do.
I won't get close to your heartache if you won't open your door. I'm feeling kinda lost when your mind is hiding whatever that is choking your chest. I can see it in your eyes that you're shaking 'cause you're holding it back. Maybe you'll make up your mind now. I'm here.
Next up, DIY number 2. But first, let's talk about today's collab. We are doing a fun fall nights collab with some of my favorite creators here on YouTube. My friend Lisa Marie from Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie reached out to me and asked if I would like to be part of this collab. And of course, I love to meet new friends, and this is going to bring you some great autumn inspiration for the next few months. And to be honest, fall is my favorite crafting time. I love fall decor, and so hopefully we can bring you some inspiration. And if you are new here, my name is Kat and welcome to my channel. I love to make home decor pieces on a budget using Dollar Tree, recyclables, things I find at the thrift store or yard sales, and just to decorate my home. I would love for you to stick around and be a part of my channel, so please hit that subscribe button and the little bell will notify you every time I upload a new video. And if you're liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. And when you are done with my video, I will link the playlist to the fun fall nights below, and you can go around and see everybody's videos that are part of this collab. And back to the DIY. So the first thing I did was I took this Dollar Tree frame. It is an 8x10. I'm going to take everything out from the frame, the glass, the backing, and all of that good stuff. This is a 2021 calendar from the Dollar Tree, and I really like this Fall in Love photo picture, and I'm going to use that inside the frame. So there were 2 of these, and thank goodness, because I messed up, and I will show you what I did wrong so that you don't make the same mistake I made. So I am going to just take out this inner sheet here. It will help me cut this to size without making it a guessing game. So I will just take this insert. Well, I'm just checking to see how it's going to look first. And I'm going to take this insert, lay it right over my picture, and then get my Dollar Tree cutting mat and a cutting knife, a craft knife, and you will see how I will just cut this to size without any guessing. And I really do like that little Dollar Tree cutting mat. I do have bigger ones, and I end up reaching for this one just because it's small and I can have it right there by my side. And right now I'm just cutting off any extra paper that's on around that calendar photo. And that's perfect. And because there was a mat inside of this frame, it was perfect because it covered up that little circle that's at the top. You know, on calendars, how they have those little holes to, hold, what is that called? you know, pin them in place. So I did like the gold frame. However, there were some scratches on it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it brown. So I took my Dollar Tree, not my Dollar Tree, didn't take my Dollar Tree. Now see, I'm losing my mind. My Waverly Chalk Paint in Truffle. It is a dark brown, and I'm going to go right around this frame and give it a good coat. I did go back and give it a second coat because there were some places that were a little lighter than others. Now, I am glad I did this because I thought it gave it more of the farmhouse look, and with this whole DIY, I did make it more farmhouse. So I thought it all looked really good together because of the matte look. Now I'm taking this matte insert to the frame and I'm going to give it a good coat of some Waverly Chalk Paint in Plaster, and I added a little dark yellow apple barrel paint. I liked this color. It is kind of like, I don't know, like a warm khaki. But once I was done, I thought it didn't go with the calendar print. So I take this Maize, which is Waverly Chalk Paint. The color is called Maize, M-A-I-Z-E. And I decide to just mix it right in that same little bowl. And this is going to warm up that color a bit, which I thought looked really nice with the sunflowers on the print. So I'm glad I did this change. Now, when I was done, I was actually going to leave it just like this, but I like to show you guys how like my thought process goes as I'm crafting, because I'm sure with all of you, you do the same thing. Like you just kind of go along and then you're like, I don't really like how that looks. I could see the striations in the paint because the matte kind of had a sheen to it. You could see the paint striation. So I wasn't loving that. So now I'm taking my Waverly Antique Wax and my Dollar Tree chippy brush. I find those in the automotive section, and I think they make a really nice wood grain. So what I'm going to do is do a faux wood grain right here on top of that Waverly Chalk Paint in Maize and kind of give it a faux wood effect. And I really think it warmed it up, and I like how it looked in the end. So I'm glad I went that extra step and did that because I wasn't liking how that was looking. And you can see I am brushing off excess. You want a very dry brush whenever you're trying to do faux wood grain. And so make sure you're not saturating that brush. But it really does, those chippy brushes really do a nice wood grain effect. I do like those. I make it a little darker in the corners. I just like the way that looks, and it kind of gives me the effect I'm going for. Here's my mistake. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep it right here on the back of this frame. So I put the glue on. I thought the paper was thick enough because it was a calendar page. It really wasn't. Thank goodness there were 2 of those fallen loves in that calendar because I had to use another one that I did not glue on, and I just kind of stuck that in. So yes, do not glue it down first is what I'm telling you. Put my glass back in, put the matte back in, the matte around the frame, and then just put my backing on, and there you go. So cute, just like this. But there were some parts that were kind of sticking up a little bit in the back, so I'm just taking my hot glue, putting a couple little dots, and that's good to go. I have this ribbon, black and white check, buffalo check, very cute. I love it that has the wires in it so that you can shape it the way you like. I am burning the edges so that it doesn't fray. And then I'm going to, I hot glued it on, and then I was like, no, I want something behind it. So I took it off, and now I'm going to hot glue on a couple leaves, and these are faux leaves from the Dollar Tree. So I picked 2 yellow leaves, put those in the back. Now I'm going to re-hot glue my ribbon bow. I just did a regular, like you tie your shoes. That's all I did. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to glue on next. So I take my Dollar Tree mini pine cones, and I'm going to just use my hot glue and put a few right there under that bow. And like I said, those wires in that ribbon, they do such a nice job of letting me kind of manipulate it how I want around the outside of the frame. So once I glued on those little mini pine cones, I decided that I needed some sort of stand in the back. You can hang this. They do have those little hanging pieces on the back already on the frame, but I thought I'm probably going to use it on a tabletop. So I'm just using the Dollar Tree tumbling blocks and just gluing those right onto the back. And this is done. I hope you like it as much as I do.
They were in high school when they met, and things got kinda awkward. With sparks in the air, he would stare at her in class, and she would try to act cool. But it was obvious, like, ooh, they would be together, ooh. Then one day she said, write me a love song.
And last up, DIY number 3. So the first thing I did was I took this Dollar Tree glass vase and just got my stash of fall leaves, faux fall leaves that I picked up from Dollar Tree, whether it be in a garland or a pick or what have you. And I'm just playing around with what I have and how I would like to glue these onto this vase. So before I even started gluing them on, I started gluing them to each other. And I knew I kind of wanted to make sort of like a swag down the side of the vase. So I just started with them away from the vase. It was working out easier for me this way, and I could see how I wanted to layer them, but you could glue it right onto the vase if you would like. I am using different types of leaves and different textures, and then I knew I was going to bring those berries in at some point. So once I got the base together of that little swag, I added the berries on. I did add two bunches of berries before I glued it onto the vase, the whole swag, and then I added a couple after it was on because I knew it needed a little more. Again, I'm only adding some hot glue dots here and there because I knew once I laid it on the vase, I will go around any loose places and add some more hot glue. Move quickly here because it being glass, it does dry that hot glue rather quickly because the glass is colder. So I had to go back, like I said, and just add little spots of hot glue here and there to make sure that all stayed on. I did find this gold mesh leaf in my stash. I loved it. I think it was from a Dollar Tree, like, I don't know, bundle, but it was so pretty and I thought it added a nice dimension to this little swag and I really liked it. So I glued that right, I kind of tucked it in, but I was so glad I did that because it just added something extra. So I took some Dollar Tree twine, I'm burning off that extra fuzz. Make sure you have water nearby if you do that. And I'm just going to tie this 3 times right around the top. And then I'm going to knot it and put it into a little shoelace tie, just a tiny one, and spread out those twine pieces. I didn't really think too much about it, but I love how it looked. And I just kind of pulled it down right towards the side. And if you would like, at this point, you can just take a battery operated candle, put it right there inside, and that looked really cute. But I wanted some rocks in here, so I took some Dollar Tree stones and I just kind of piled them up, put them right inside. And then I took one of the Dollar Tree votive candles, the battery operated votive candle, and I'm going to put that right there on top of all those rocks. And then I'll take some more rocks and put them around that candle so that it looks like it's kind of buried in place. The warmth of this candle and the rocks gave such a nice look to this glass vase. I really like the autumn feel it gave, and this is done. I hope you like this as much as I do.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the
So here we are at the final reveal, my favorite part of the video because we get to recap everything we just made. So the first thing we made was this thankful pumpkin out of a wood slice from a tree trunk. Love how this turned out, super rustic. Then we have the Beyond Farmhouse Fall in Love sign. It's so cute and I'm so glad I made those changes. Next up was this glass vase with the faux candle inside. Again, this is such a warm feeling. Love this as well. Tell me in the comments below which one is your favorite. I'm gonna go with the thankful pumpkin. I just love the way this looks. You know I love that rustic decor. And my favorite part of this was the top and how we had those ropes hanging. I just love that. And don't forget to check out the description box for the playlist for the Fun Fall Nights collab, and you will get a whole bunch of fall inspiration. Thanks, guys. So that's it. That's the end of my video. I hope you liked everything you saw here today, and I hope it inspires you to make something of your own. If you have not checked me out on Instagram, please do so over at Cat Luna Designs. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love if you did. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye! So that's it. That's the end of my video. I hope you liked everything you saw here today. And I hope it... that's not even what I'm doing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. Yeah.